This episode is brought to you by Catholic Money Academy.
3 different strategies, one goal, but which debt payoff method actually works best? Keep listening to this episode of The Catholic Money Show. Let's go down memory lane and chat about our story of becoming debt-free.
Yes, please.
It's a good one. It starts back in, about this
The
time of
olden
year.
days.
Back in 2011.
Yes.
We got home from that infamous honeymoon that we
yeah.
talked about a few podcast episodes before, the fight we got in on that honeymoon, the reckoning we had when we got home, the tallying up.
Yes.
The opening of bank accounts, the hunting down of passwords, the whole kit and caboodle.
The listing of debts.
Yes. $25,000 in debt spread between some credit cards that were open and also student loans. Most of them yours, some of mine.
Most of them mine.
And then we realized it was about almost as much as we took home in a year of our income. And we decided, okay, let's figure this out. Let's create a stretch goal. In 2012, we want to get out of debt give ourselves 1 year. And it just felt like the biggest stretch, the stretchiest of stretch goals.
Oh, yes.
And I remember sitting down to create our first budget, December of 2011, teeing ourselves up for that January 1, 2012 budget where we were going to make our first big bite into the debt. Lo and behold, the rest is history. It's for another podcast, but 7.5 months later, we were out of debt.
That's right.
Much to our shock.
Oh, yes. It was the stretch goal. We said we want to do it in a year just so we would, work hard to try to do it in a year. Hopefully, maybe get out in a year and a half.
Right.
I had no idea the momentum that we would find, the creativity that would come out of us, and harnessing of a lot of different things going on in our lives to make it possible to get out of all that debt in 7.5 months.
And I will say that I firmly believe it was the strategy we chose. There's a lot of snow analogies around debt and the payoff methods. There's the Avalanche, there's the Snowball, there's the Snowflake. These have been popularized over the last couple of decades. And the method that we used was what you would refer to as Snowball. And we're going to get into that in a little bit. But had we done one of the other methods, I don't believe we would have been out of debt as fast as we were.
Ooh.
I believe it was crucial. And I'm curious to what you would say. Do you remember?
I agree with you.
Do you remember how good it felt to see those amounts of who we owed debt to early on reduce really quickly?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that dipping below the 10K mark?
Oh, yes. I remember that. I remember in this journey, there's a couple moments I can remember. And I can remember like the room we were in.
Really?
I saw it was when we were making the first budget.
I remember that too. My parents' house.
Yep. Because we were visiting
it was Christmas
for
break,
Christmas.
yeah.
So we're making the January budget. I remember, that below $10,000 we're in our living room.
Yes, at the old townhouse.
Yep. And then the payoff, of course.
In the Wicky's basement.
At the place we were living at the time. Yes, exactly.
They were very pointed memories.
Those are those.
What do you call those?
Core memories?
Yeah, yes, core memories. I thought there was a
I don't know.
more spiritually enlightened term.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyway.
I wouldn't say they weren't signal graces. But
no. Signal moments.
Something. Important times. So I think about those 3 moments. I think that, the way we did it certainly did help.
And we can't go back and undo how we did it. But just knowing the ways we reacted to owing money to less people quicker, and then seeing results and dipping below certain milestones quicker than had we done these other methods, I don't doubt that they would have worked for us. They would have worked for our brains. The times that we needed momentum, that we needed a dopamine hit, that we just needed encouragement in the journey, it seemed like those moments, there was something very soon after that happened to give us that encouragement to drive us on in the behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And the other methods that we're going to break down here, we wouldn't have gotten those wins when we needed them. We wouldn't have gotten the encouragement at the exact moment that we were looking for it. So that's why I look back and I think, I just don't know. Now, maybe it would have just taken a few months longer. Or possibly it could have derailed us and we could have been in debt for much, much longer.
Mm-hmm.
Could have given up altogether. There's always that risk as well. There's a risk that it would have been about the same too. But
Sure.
I think knowing us, knowing our personalities and our temperaments, it was the right method for us. And research has shown that it tends to be the right method for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
minus one or two little caveats.
Yes.
And that's one of the reasons we teach this strategy of debt payoff inside of our Catholic Money Academy.
Yes. And we give it a different name, which we'll get to probably
Yeah,
at the
we
end.
don't use the snowy term.
But now let's just go through the different methods, what they are, why people might choose them, and then for all but one, why we didn't, and why we probably don't suggest you choose it either.
Right. Okay, let's get into Avalanche.
Ooh, Avalanche. Maybe an exciting visual, of course. We want to see maybe the debt fall down, or we want the snow to cover it all up and engulf the debt and take care of it. But it's not that exciting in real life. So the avalanche
think
method.
About causing an avalanche yourself naturally. You know, you're sitting there chipping away at it, chipping away, really uncertain when that momentum is going to shift and come your way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say that is what the biggest risk of this entire method.
Ooh, yes.
Go ahead, explain.
So the avalanche method is you pay off your debts in order of interest rate, with the highest being attacked first. So if you have, an IOU to, I don't know, your cousin or something for $200 and it's just zero interest, that's at the bottom. You're getting to that last. And probably the credit card is going to be probably one of the first ones because that's going to be in the 20s, maybe even 30%. And then car loans, personal loans, things like that are going to find themselves in the middle. So you start at the highest interest first. You start paying towards that one. You really ignore how much you owe on each loan. You're only focused on paying towards the most money towards the largest percentage, highest interest rate. And the idea behind this, proponents of Avalanche would say, well, that debt with the highest interest rate is costing you the most. Costing you the most. It's gaining more and more, debt as it sits there. So yes, we should chip away that one first. Because if you hold off on that one till later, which might happen in some of the other ones, well, it's just going to sit there and get more interest. It's the big guy who's eating the most. Let's take him out first.
And it's mathematically optimal. No one's going to argue this. I mean, if you plugged into a computer or into ChatGPT, if you will, what's the most efficient, optimal way to pay off my debt? And then you listed off all of its debts. It's going to choose this mathematically optimized version where everything's going to go according to plan. And I will say this, every one of the methods that we're going to talk about today, they can work. They can absolutely get somebody out of debt. And if you play them in the exact scenario that they're supposed to be, if you work Avalanche perfectly, both mathematically, efficiently, and also behaviorally, you might end up saving money. Possibly. If you're that type A, go-getter, hyper-analytical, organized, efficient, optimized, if you're that type of person or not. Very few people are this person.
Yes.
And or can be this person for the longevity.
Now, the other, I'd say maybe a downside of the avalanche method is it's only kind of trackable, hopefully feelable metric of your progress is total debt that I owe. Like you can watch the number go down and that's about it. Where these other methods, especially the one we like the most, there's a lot of built-in things to help you see and feel the momentum as you go along. With Avalanche, it's just not there.
Right. Okay, so let's go on to the snowflake.
The snowflake, yes.
The snowflake method. The snowflake method is essentially just, it's like a shotgun approach. We're just scattering things out here. I get $1, I get a little bit of extra cash, boom, throwing it at some debt. Whatever debt I feel like, I'm just kind of boom, 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 boom.
Is this also referred as the flurry?
I don't know.
I think I've heard this is the flurry, where it just spreads over everything.
Yeah, you're kind of taking it, and maybe it is the flurry. You're just spreading it out all over the place. You're effectively watering yourself down in many ways, but you're just, anytime you get an extra buck, you're throwing it at this guy, and then you get some money here, and you're throwing it at that guy, and you're just just kind of spreading things out constantly throughout the month, thinking, and every dollar does make a difference, but you are not necessarily targeting any specific debt.
Yes.
You're just, again, much like the Avalanche, hitting randomly at different debts that you owe.
Now, I'd say maybe perhaps a more organized version of this could be, and this is going to be really easy numbers. I have a debt that's $1,000. I have a debt that's $500, and I have $300 to pay towards my debt. The one is twice as large as the other, so I'm going to send $200 to the big one, $100 to the small one, kind of split it up somewhat evenly based on the size of the debt. I'm just trying to kind of hit everybody as much as I can.
Everybody's getting a little bit of the snow.
Yes. And this is maybe the worst one. Because at least with the Avalanche, you do get
the mathematical benefit.
That benefit of taking out what's going to be gaining interest. This one, well, you're just diluting that benefit by diverting some of your funds to the lower interest debts, but you're not doing anything more strategic than that in order to give a reason why you would be diverting funds away from the highest income debts. So there's no real benefits other than, I don't know, you feel busy.
This would be, if you were to look at this method in a different area of life, like your schedule, if you will. This is just the chronic, constant multitasker throughout the day. Did you really get anything done? Did you really move the needle anywhere? Probably you got some stuff done, but meaningfully, deeply, anything huge checked off or deep work accomplished? Probably not. And this is, I think, honestly, time management wise, where a lot of people end up spending most of their life is just scattered all over the place and just kind of giving a little bit of their time to 1,000 things a day. And then you don't really know where the result was.
Yeah.
So again, this one is probably the least attractive, but people do it because, hey, I got a $500 extra. And so I don't really know which debt to put it towards, so I'm just going to divide him in 5, and he'll go to the 5 debts. Not that attractive. Yes. All right, let's talk Snowball.
Okay, so this is what, you'll hear this one as the Snowball method. This is paying the smallest account balance first.
Yes. So whereas the Avalanche was focused on interest rate first, this one, it's balance, smallest balance first.
Yeah, so this is probably that $200 IOU to your cousin. That's probably going to get paid first because $200 is probably lower than the amount that you might own or owe on a car or a student loan or credit card, any of that. So this is, again, in order of the smallest to the largest. And that seemed, okay, you're going after the little guy. Well, that's interesting.
Mathematically, that doesn't seem to make sense.
It may or may not make sense mathematically, right? You may line up where the interest rates happen to fall in line along, in an inverse way with the balances.
Yeah, you only owe $1,500 on this credit card that is at 18% interest. Great. It's a low balance, and I get to attack it first. Sometimes it works that way.
It might work out, but it's not guaranteed to. More often than not, it probably won't, especially the whole way down all of your debts. But There is a reason, unlike the Snowflake or the Flurry or whatever you want to call it, the Squall, there is a reason why we are diverting debt payoff from the highest interest rate, because we are looking at the overall situation, the overall reality of me owing money to a list of people. You know what? If I've got 7 debt collectors pounding on my door out on my front porch, it's not really going to feel any different if I owe each of them half as much. They're all still out there. But if I can cut that number from 7 down to 5 or 4, that feels a lot better. I can say goodbye to somebody. I can close the door on them. I can, move on from that part of life. And this is what we found when we were paying off debt. We were doing it this way. And, my loans were they kind of, each time money got taken out, it was kind of like by semester or year, so I had a fairly good list of debts for my student loans.
But they were all small-ish.
Yeah,
there were many of them.
Yes, there are many of them around about the same size. But so we put them in order, and then we just started and that focused attention, right? Because you put minimums to everybody, keep them off your doorstep, all that. But whatever you've got left, that's the money that you send towards the little guy.
Yes.
Because he's little. He just takes maybe 1, maybe 2 good punches, and he's out of there.
1 or 2 budgets, and boom, you owe money to less people.
You cross them off the list. You have less people going, asking
Sending
you for
mail.
money. And as you're doing this, right, because we are paying minimums, keeping everybody happy, which I would recommend you do in any of these
Yes, absolutely.
methods. But because we've knocked somebody off, there's no minimum payment for that loan anymore. You now can take that, and that kind of gets added just to your fighting money, your attack money.
Yep.
So you gain more and more of a punch as you come up against bigger and bigger debts.
Yeah, you end up having more money to throw towards the debt as the months go by, whereas in the Avalanche, oftentimes, it's just the same amount going towards it every single month. And this is one of the biggest risks, is that oftentimes, in theory, that can be sustained for the long haul. But then when something comes up, something happens, your budget gets a little bit derailed, or there's something discouraging that happens in your life, oftentimes behavior and just kind of our natural tendencies and habits will take over. And if we aren't sitting there with a fresh win on our doorstep, we are likely going to end up falling off the bandwagon a bit. And for who knows how long. It could be just for a few weeks. And maybe in the Avalanche method, you miss a month or 2 and then you get back on. But that cost you that lack of momentum. And then there's always the risk of just never coming back to it.
Yes.
That's a humongous risk. And with the Snowball method, you're always getting some sort of a visible win. You're not only seeing your debt lowering, but you're often seeing it lower by a significant amount because you are consolidating the amount that you're paying towards debt on one specific loan, and it tends to be a smaller loan, so you are seeing that number get closer to 0 as the months go by. And that just psychologically feels good. It goes with the way that God designed our brains. And I'm all for methods that actually work and don't require you to have a certain personality. I can't teach a strategy that requires everybody to be the same robotish type of person who doesn't really struggle with behaviors when things are tough. That's very normal, very natural.
Yes.
To need these types of wins to sustain the habit that you are in the process of creating.
Yeah, we have this built-in reward system that God gave us. These are the things that help us, right? Like feel warmth and love towards the baby when we pick them up. It helps us feel good when we get out on that run, when we get a good night's sleep, like it feels good. These are little built-in parts of how God made us to encourage us to do things that are good for us. This takes that system and uses it harnesses the power of those built-in rewards, those times where the dopamine or whatever it is, fires off in your brain when you get happy, when you see a debt total, when you see the amount you owe a particular loan dip under 1,000, dip under 500, whatever it might be. You get excited. You want to maybe, I am going to trim this expense a little bit more because I want to actually knock this one out this month. You go a little bit further than you probably would because there are more exciting goalposts that you run into, more exciting checkpoints along the way when you do it this way. And by starting off with the little guy, you're going to run into some of those exciting checkpoints earlier in the debt payoff journey. So
Very
when
important.
It's really before you've built up momentum, if you're like, I've been knocking out debts for months. No, you're still at the beginning. You're going to get tired. You're going to get, is this worth it? Well, that's right when you hit a win, when you hit one of those exciting checkpoints or you cross somebody off, and then you're encouraged to keep going. So this system, it encourages you. It works with the way we were built to give you those quick wins at the beginning, to give you many little wins along the way that will pull you forward in paying off debt and doing it faster.
Yep. And now, again, we don't call this the Snowball method.
No, we don't.
Inside of our Catholic Money Academy, we teach a more in-depth strategy called stack and attack. It follows these similar strategies and principles, but we go very in-depth on that, and not only how to get out of debt, but how to stay out of debt, how to budget well so that you can get more money to throw at the debt, how to maybe add a side hustle. So again, you have more coming in to eliminate the debt even more quickly. So we are all about helping people to get out of debt efficiently, quickly as possible, because what's at stake here is that debt ends up being something that gets in the way of us being able to serve God, serve our families, serve our communities, and to say yes to whatever He's asking us to prioritize right now. It's keeping us tied up and locked in the past and not working for us, allowing our money and the resources God's giving us in the present or the future. It can't work. The money can't work for those things right now or in the future. So again, all methods will work, but they have studied. There's been actual research done on all of these strategies. And again, Avalanche can work in theory with a specific personality type. But are you going to be that personality type in 3 months, in 7 months, in a year? I don't know. I can't really teach that though. But this one, time and time again, gets people results. It gets people the wins when they need them, and it gets them out of debt, and it helps them stay out of debt.
Yes, all the built-in encouragements and rewards and exciting checkpoints, all of that kind of makes up for, and then some, the difference in the interest and all of that more often than not. It allows you get more excited. You end up paying more on debt in any given month because of the excitement, because of the encouragement. And so you actually can get out faster and do it more reliably and be more likely to actually pay off the debt and free your income up for all the other financial goals that you've got. We love to celebrate getting out of debt. We celebrated when we got out of debt. We remember the day. We love hearing when listeners, viewers, members of our community get out of debt. When you guys do it, it's very exciting. It's a day to celebrate and remember. But it's practically a starting line in your financial life and in your journey. There's so much more after death. There's life after debt.
And debt.
Yes. Life after debt. I believe in life after debt. And it is an exciting time, but it's the beginning. So it's a good place to get so that we can get to the next spot where we can serve God, say yes, help our family, all of that. So it's, yes, the debt strategy is important, which one you choose. But there's so many other things that run into it. And that is why we created Catholic Money Academy. So we'll teach you how to get out of debt, sure, but we're going to teach you so much more. And you can check that out, sign up, and get started today at CatholicMoneyAcademy.com.
Yeah, we'll see you inside the community. And we know that a lot of people are facing this right now. debt rates are at almost an all-time high.
Mm-hmm.
And every quarter, it seems like there's a new article pointing out that reality. We've reached another milestone. And so if that's you and you're feeling embarrassed or ashamed or upset or frustrated or overwhelmed by it, just head on over to CatholicMoneyAcademy.com. And if you have questions about it, there's a little chat box you can go ahead and ask, and it actually comes to us.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can email us at email@walletwin.com, or even find us on social media. We are at WalletWin on most platforms, and let's strike up a conversation. I want to answer any questions I can for you about the program, about what encouragement that I can offer you in paying off debt and pursuing that debt freedom for you and your family. But yeah, we're waiting to walk alongside you, cheer you on in this, and help you to become debt-free and to stay debt-free and to become the good steward that God's calling you to be. All right, head on over to CatholicMoneyAcademy.com, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.